let's talk about Fallen Archers, which is a great episode focusing on Dr. O and the Order of the Triad, who are one of the best superhero teams the show has to offer, and Dr. Venture being a jealous little bitch. The Order of the Triad, go! And Fallen Archers is a joke that gets reused again at one point in the show with the character the Fallen Archer, who is a foot-themed Hawkeye ripoff. I don't know what point you have to be concerned about show creators and having foot fetishes, but there's worse things, you know, maybe you can get in with some of the Hollywood elites.
Who the fuck are you?
You're dancing with the Fallen Archer now, big man. Too bad you've got 2 left feet.
The episode starts with a video produced by Watch and Ward, who are amazing as ever. They are arranging bad guys for this new superhero team to face.
Why would a hero look anywhere else for a villain? Why doesn't
Dr. Orpheus and team?
So the Sovereign, Watch and Ward give a presentation on what the new hero team can expect. And why they should choose the Guild of Calamitous Intent over any other villain union. Because they're the best in the business, and why wouldn't you go for the best in the business? I've always wondered if that is actually the Sovereign, or it's just someone doing a voice on a screen at this point, because I imagine the real Sovereign's kind of a busy guy. You know, tours, Glastonbury, music, whatever else Bowie was up to at the time.
Ward, since 1910, the Guild has been providing first-rate professional menace.
And they talk about the history of the Guild, its founding in 1910, which seems like a long time ago. Wonder if they were using lots of blimps to get around back then. The Guild versus the Peril Parsnip versus the Fraternity of Torment, who I don't think we've seen, but they might have been in Any Which Way But Zeus, given a seat on the council, and unlicensed villains. And the Guild do have a commanding majority. I can see why most superheroes go for them.
Look at these numbers.
Wow, those are some impressive figures, Sovereign.
Orpheus shouts to Triana about what on earth this video is, and she talks about renting Splash on Netflix.
It's just that...
Splash, I put it on your Netflix list.
No, it's not that Splash.
I just wanted to see it again.
Not something I would expect from Triana, but I guess Splash is a pretty good film.
Thank you. These look terrific. She's really hungry.
Well, some people think so. So, as Guild tryouts of the today, Orpheus has to get his stuff together and form up the Order of the Triad. And I do love anything to do with the inner workings of the Guild. They are such a ridiculous organisation. Doc Venture shows us his walking eye.
What is it? It's a walking eye, Hank. What does it do? I don't know, walking eye stuff.
Many purposes. Military use, lasers, stealth recon, and a camera.
There's a camera, iris-mounted lasers, monkey-proof welding, and silent stealth design that makes it perfect for reconnaissance applications.
You got that from us.
Or if you're Hank, it's filled with monkeys and can lower a bucket of monkeys out of the bottom, and the monkeys are piloting it.
Probably like a bucket comes down for like water, or even like monkeys. That could totally drive it.
Guild swarms the compound, getting through the first gate.
Got a massive breach at the main gates.
Doc wants Brock to do something, and he just opens the second gate.
Are you gonna do something about it?
Let's do something? Yeah, I'm opening the secondary gates.
Because he's got bigger priorities, such as the swarm of Guild wasps, which is the Guild's equivalent of helicopters, landing in his herb garden.
Choppers!
Guild wasps. I gotta go deal with this. They're landed in my herb garden.
We never see Brock do drugs, but you know, he's got that very 70s vibe. He could probably get away with it. You know, Brock is actually quite into his gardening. He loves his grass mixes.
Speaking of green earth, what do you got out there? Kentucky bluegrass? Ah, that is lush.
No, that's my own special blend of Blue Ridge and Creeping Red.
I'm gonna say it again, lush.
So it's probably just a collection of stuff like mint, oregano, parsley, basil, you know, regular people herbs. Next up we see Jefferson Twilight, and he is fighting a collection of vampires who all just happen to be black.
Dude, this is gonna wicked, like, really hurt.
And as he snaps the teeth off the first one, Orpheus shows up to save his life. After 16 years of being apart, and they team up.
Keeping the cosmos from chaos lacks so much of the razzle-dazzle.
Orpheus missing the razzle-dazzle of superhero work. After years of being a stay-at-home dad and protecting the cosmos through, you know, books, learning, and he's sort of got annoyed at everyone thinking he's a bit of a layabout.
My peers perceive me as a layabout.
No, man, you have a secret identity.
Orpheus starts to get annoyed that he can't kill this vampire. Vampire rules. Jefferson knows what's going on. Gotta cut off their head. You can't just keep blasting them with magic, Orpheus.
Why won't he just die?
You gotta remove his head.
And I wondered for a second while I was watching the episode if Jefferson would stand a chance against the investors. I remembered they're not black. 21 has managed to secure 2 guild licenses for him and 24.
Is our future. Check it out. Second-class arching license.
They may say he's 6 foot tall, but we're not going to question that.
You're 6 feet and 135 pounds?
And they seem to be getting ready to form their own team. 21 thinks they could do what the Monarch does, but as 24 said, he is ruthless. He kills people with barely a second thought.
You have any idea how ruthless the Monarch is?
Or, you know, messes with people's heads and physical well-being. And I think 21 learns this as the show goes on, especially at the end of season 7 with the whole Saphrax protocol and him, well, deciding he doesn't want to be his own villain.
I don't want to have to be a villain without him. I just want to help my best friend with his hate.
But the Monarch is preoccupied at this point. He's with a prostitute who's all dressed up as Dr. Mrs. M.
My butterfly.
And trying to do a deep voice.
I need
No, deeper.
butterfly.
Deeper. Way deeper.
Watch and Ward arrive with the Guild Wasps and are having a massive geek out at the Venture compound.
I can't believe that we're standing in the same conference room the Treaty of Tolerance was signed.
Which I imagine most people would. Dr. Venture Sr. was kind of like a badass. He was a super scientist, super adventurer, murderer, politician, playboy, sex addict, probably a drug dealer to some degree. Depends on who you ask. The Action Man would probably agree. And Dr. Venture Sr. stole Watch's father's leg.
Ah, legend. He's responsible for stealing my father's leg.
And they mock Doc Venture over his, you know, important business stuff going on.
Because I have some pretty impressive things going on over there.
Well, impressive.
Yeah, impressive stuff.
As he laughs at Orpheus for only getting a arch-villain as a team-up, he seemed a little bit jealous, and Watch and Ward notice.
He was approved as a team? What a wuss!
Jealous.
We're then introduced to the Alchemist, master of mystery, intrigue, chemicals, whatever else alchemists do.
Alchemist, I presume.
And one of my favourite characters in the show. He's currently looking for a cure for AIDS.
In the cure for AIDS.
Noble.
And clearly it's been some time since they've all reunited. But Twilight asking Al if he's still gay. One of my favourite bits, Al saying it's still a phase.
Still, you know. Nah, I grew out of that. Yeah, you know. It's just a phase, and
it was just a phase. He needs public funding and publicity to sort of get his project of curing AIDS off the ground.
I need the publicity. You know, nothing gets the people in your corner like that hero crap.
What gets people going? The boys have shown us this very clearly. Superheroes. Who doesn't like a superhero? And they all talk about how fat they've gotten over the 16 years since they used to be a sort of like unlicensed team of magic people, I guess.
I'm getting a little paunchy. Tell me about it.
Doc sends one of his sons off to the bathroom because Hank doesn't need to hear the next part of his conversation.
Hank, I need to speak to your brother alone.
You told us we can't leave our room.
Well, go sit in the bathroom.
He explains to Dean that he's been asked to entertain Triana for an afternoon while her dad does whatever with supervillains.
Dr. Orpheus has asked me to watch his daughter, which your father can't do because he doesn't care to.
He explains the whole birds and the bees to Dean, which ends with Dean making something up about white snakes. So clearly it went really well.
Break up, white lion?
That's White Snake, Dean. And yes!
Hopefully he pushed Hank away, because Hank sort of already knows what's going on with the birds and the bees, but I worry that's probably not the case. Jetpacks. 21 has stolen 2 jetpacks from Sergeant Hatred.
Are those what I think they are?
Only if you think they're jetpacks.
Who I think we see in this episode.
Sergeant Hatreds, I think.
I'll double check that in the edit and I'll put them in here. If you just show up in the line of supervillains in this episode. 24 is very much not convinced.
The idiot I work with forged documents and stole jetpack!
But 21 convinced him, saying you could fly into some chick's window.
How to be totally flying into some hot chick's bedroom?
Suddenly, you can imagine all the things going through 24's mind.
Oh, totally, and she'd be like dating the good guy, and I'll come in and I'll be all, I'll spare his life, but only for you, sugar pants.
Dating the good guy, I'll spare him, but only for you, sugar pants. And then you'll be having sex. Having sex.
Dude, and then you will have sex. You will be having sex. Sex.
I mean, come on. What could be better for two fully grown henchmen? The Monarch is clearly not having a very good time with his breakup.
Get out of my sight.
So once he's finished doing the dirty with his lovely, lovely, lovely lady of the night, he seems to lose his goddamn mind, revealing his back tattoo and or he's just painted a giant minotaur in his back, because we do see it like leaking a bit later, and I don't think we ever see this tattoo again in the show.
Hear me, Theseus, for I am the mighty Minotaur!
And he goes on some tirade. Hear me, Theseus. I am the mighty Minotaur, which comes up later. It happened before this episode chronologically, but he pretends to be Minotaur when Phantom Limb is questioning him about what he's doing at this party.
I'm the mighty Minotaur.
So the Monarch, you know, he was a sort of rich kid. Maybe he does have this weird obsession with Greek mythology. I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of a cool supervillain theme. The cocoon punishes the wicked, rewards the righteous. How much do you want to live?
The cocoon will punish the wicked. The cocoon will reward the righteous.
So you're like pretty insane villain stuff. It's the Monarch, he is an insane villain. Just normally he doesn't go after random civilians. Not in like a torture meshed up kind of way. This feels like a elaborate thing he would put Dr. Venture through. We start to see some of the villains in the line. Intangible Fancy, who is a weird, strange sort of ghost man.
I'm with the Intangible Fancy.
But also sort of not. And Triad, an Australian fireman.
Sorry.
Fire theme. Lucky duck. Lots of costume options with the fire theme.
Pretty cool power. Firepower is pretty good, as Intangible Fancy backs up. They tell about their costume designs and the fact that Intangible Fancy no longer has a dick.
Do you have
genitals? Not anymore.
And Triad breaks into the Venture compound.
Save my place in the queue. It's something I feel I must do.
We see some embarrassing villains interviewing for the job. It happens. We know there's lots of embarrassing villains in the Venture Bros universe. Whoever the hell Scuba Man is, probably not going to be a very good arch enemy for anyone.
Wait, what? I have a question. What is that in your head?
Hank's dealing with whatever sort of skin problems teenagers deal with, as whatever's coming out of whatever, like easy cheese.
Oh, it comes out like easy cheese.
Triad's using the bathroom. As Hank goes to push in, he teleports into a puff of flames and sulfur and brimstone.
Whoa! Oh!
21 and 24 have now left the cocoon and are testing out the jetpacks for the first time. They're wearing double dare costumes covered in stains, gank, whatever from some sort of physical challenge.
Yeah, it was a family double dare. Totally swiped him.
24's managed to say his shoes on fire, and 21 isn't able to go up because clearly these jetpacks are designed for smaller people.
Dude, my shoe's on fire!
Hold on!
Though I can't imagine Hatred was going to go very far in them. I guess they're maybe for his special op troops. Blackulas. I hunt black vampires. Oh, Jefferson Twyla, what an actual godsend.
Yes, I only hunt blackulas.
Oh, so you only hunt African-American vampires?
No, sometimes I hunt British vampires. They don't have African-Americans in England.
And by far the best part of this episode, he's asked about how his job works and what he actually does. You hunt African-American vampires? He's like, no, I hunt black vampires because sometimes I hunt black vampires in different countries. You know, what is a British vampire? They're not African-American. Oh, it's brilliant. And I think something that's come up, maybe not so much with this show, but other shows, like, what is PC? How do you be PC and funny? Like, sometimes you're doing something that's not necessarily not PC, but like, what do you call hunting black vampires? Dean, also a bit crazy, but he's crazy in a undeveloped and not having any friends sort of way. He's putting on the play Lady Windermere.
Couldn't help it. I can resist everything except temptation.
For Triana, who's not paying attention, Brock is sat next to him doing his best to be these other characters. But as Hank walks back in and says, my lord, the bathroom, it smells so bad.
You gotta get in here. It smells like gunpowder, throw up, poo-poo eggs.
Brock just leaves. Brock decides he has something better to do than this, and it's definitely not this. Next up on the interview block is Chris, or Curse, or Chris.
Was it Curse or a Chris?
Curse.
He's pretty scary as a bad guy. He has magical powers. He's got a kind of cool costume, but a little bit of a list. Fortunately, the Triad are able to give him the old Rochambeau.
On 3, we give him the old Rochambeau.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Which is a American general with a French name and also SpaghettiOs. Maybe that's something I'm a little bit too British to get, the last bit. But their team up still works as they zap his legs with magic, zap his arms with magic, and Jefferson's there to finish the deal. Definitely not the Rochambeau, but an effective strategy anyway. Back in the cocoon, we see the prostitute heading through this terrifying maze. And she comes to a collection of doors.
Oh, but which door to choose?
Well, either she gets to win some fun surprise, or the polar bear from Lost is behind it, which is very scary. And also, the Monarch blew how much money getting the polar bear from Lost? I know he's very rich, but when he runs out of money later in the seasons, I don't understand why.
Or the polar bear from Lost.
Doc, worried he's not getting enough attention, decides to bring out the big guns. Worried no one would care about the walking eye, he brings it outside.
I didn't mean for you to take it outside.
Deed's there.
While Dean and Hank explore the bathroom that smells like somebody pounded garbage up your back.
It smells like you pounded garbage into your butt.
Up your butt? And Hank says he'd be proud if he'd made something smell this bad. Which,
Dude, if I did this, I would tell you. I would be like almost proud of this.
I kind of get, but it's also disgusting. I think Triana says it smells like a Bible story. She gets such great descriptions of how awful this room would smell.
It smells like a Bible story in here.
Did my grandpa teach you to crap?
But Doc initiates horny protocol.
Guess I should wash off my walking eye.
As he's all, ooh, look at my walking eye, it's so filthy. As he gets topless, scrubbing and cleaning and car washing the beautiful topless eye. Triana, trying to help the boys figure out the mystery of the awful smell, sits on the toilet and is kidnapped in a puff of flame.
Hey! Dude, I killed your girlfriend!
In a puff, in a poof, in a thingy of tower, pillar, something of flames. Dr. Mrs. M, as Lady Au Pair, interviews for the role with her murderous moppet, and upon realising that she doesn't want to be here and isn't ready to be her own villain, offers to give the moppets away to anyone.
Oh, forget it. All right, goodbye. Anybody want to mop it?
Which I kind of get. I imagine if you've distanced yourselves from these guys for however many years, come back and they're two 40-year-old midgets, it's probably not the best place. The prostitute in the cocoon is dodging swinging blades like it's nobody's business. She has a fucking will to live. And I bet the Monarch would appreciate that if we ever see her again. The boys are back on mystery duty. A goth chick catches fire. There's no body. The smells of burning diaper. Dean starts to figure it out. Hank turns on the shower. Torrid's still in there for some reason. Releases fills the room with steam as the water evaporates off his body. And they get a clue. Tell my father I'm in the torrid zone.
I'm in the torrid zone. Tell my feather.
And Hank proves his worth as a boy detective as well. Dean's like, how did you know? It's Triana's handwriting. Well, she dots her I's, and that's a total girl move.
It's Triana's handwriting. Dotted her eye with a big circle. That's a total chick move.
I question how whatever teleported her to an island somewhere else let her produce magical write on a mirror, but we're not here to worry about that. Torrid has some powers, and that's fine. 21 is now using both jetpacks and still struggling to get around. 24 seems like he's about to give up.
Do not take buses!
Last time! We are not Jet Boy and Jet Girl!
And as 21 tells them that he can be Jet Boy, and they'll call themselves Jet Boy and Jet Girl, like the song.
It's a French song, street cred with the indie crowd. The Damned do a cover of it.
24 fully throws in the towel. Even as 21 said the Damned did a cover and they'd get total indie cred. Torrid then strolls up to the interview thing and just tells the Triad that he's kidnapped Triana.
I've kidnapped your daughter.
Wow. Balls, breath.
And everyone's just so hyped because that's like a total villain move. And like, I get it. Why wouldn't you want just the villain stuff? There's no messing around. There's no paperwork for Torrid. He goes in, he does something bad, and he becomes your arch nemesis. It's brilliant. Every villain that's really good in this show, fuck guild regulations, fuck the paperwork side, just do your job. The villains, the rest of the villains, have started fighting the walking eye.
Right? That eye is crawling with villains.
Dr. Venture got jealous and started doing stuff. Brock goes to Doc and is like, what are you doing? What's going on? And he's like, I did this all on purpose. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, they know a real arch rival when they see one.
Stop mocking the walking eye. You know, he just wants everyone to stop mocking his walking eye, which is not the worst invention he's ever done. Brock is now bored of whatever the hell's been going on today. So, still dressed up in his tux, he goes to kill people because it makes him feel like James Bond.
I love wearing a tux when I kill guys. Makes you kind of feel like James Bond.
It kind of is cool to kill people in a tux. It is very James Bondy. Even if Brock is probably going to tear these people to pieces with his bare hands, it's still cool. The boys come in and say they've solved the mystery. The Torrid Zone is an area of the world located between the Tropics of Cancer and Capricorn.
The Torrid Zone is merely the area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn,
where Dr. O happens to own his own island, because we know he's got his weird secret history, but then is somehow late with the rent sometimes. Unfortunately, telling Dean about Triana on a magical desert island makes him fantasize a little bit too much about her sunning herself.
And oiling her skin down.
Okay, time to get off my shoulders.
Tiny little issue. And the Alchemist congratulates Doc on on letting Hank be who he is, because he's going around in a dress.
I just want to commend you on accepting Hank for who he really is.
When the previous episode to this, we learned that Doc was literally trying to eradicate the gay gene, but we're not going to worry about that. As the Triad do their own team venture go and make a magic sigil in the air, Doc hits him out of his kitchen, which is a brilliant zinger. And then at the end of the episode, our final credit scene is the prostitute driving past 21 and 24, who have now fully given up. 24 is back in his butterfly costume, and she's stolen his Nissan.
I can't believe that whore stole my stanza.
I can't believe that whore made it through the lake of acid.
And as he watches the prostitute drive away, you just feel such sadness in his voice. Fallen Arches, another brilliant season 2 episode. Season 2, it's so good. We all love season 2. I love like the weird themes of this episode, but the Triad are so cool. As I said, one of the best team ups in the show. And Doc being a little jealous bitch, I love. But even the stuff going on with the Monarch, like him and the prostitute, what a weird BC story. I don't know which is C, which is D with him and the Monarch versus 21 and 24. But brilliant episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.